Hi, welcome back to Cardinal Rose Tarot. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Cynthia and this is Stevie. He's a pretty bird. He just said pretty bird. He can enunciate it a little better than he just said it. When he's really motivated, he'll say it with full enunciation. I did not teach him to speak. His first person, the person who hatched him from a baby, is the one that worked with him on speaking and taught him how to say pretty bird and hello. And yes, I know. Are you asking me for a bath? So one thing I've been doing has been trying to be better to him, because you've probably heard this in the past, and it's absolutely the truth, that if you decide to have a bird as a pet, a captive bird, it is a huge undertaking. People ask me about my bird a lot, and so that's kind of why I'm doing this. I follow a couple bird people on YouTube and on Instagram, and I've learned a lot from them. Stevie is the first high needs hookbill that I've ever had, and I don't know that I'll ever have another captive bird because their needs are so complex, and I can barely keep up with this little pistol's needs. I can only imagine having a large, like a macaw or something that's even more high needs than him, and he's plenty. He's very high needs. What they say about hookbills is very true. If you have a hookbill in your life as a pet in your home, it is like having a toddler in your home. He needs a lot of stimulation, a lot of interaction. He would benefit from me doing clicker training with him, but I have not done that really, mainly because for most of the time I've had him, I was working full time. And it's very demanding to clicker train a bird. It takes a lot of patience, it takes a lot of time, but the fact is that they love it. And Stevie loves to be out and about. He wants to be with me at all times, but he's can be a little bit of a bully. He can also be so inquisitive and curious and high needs that he needs to be constantly watched when he's out, or he can do things that really could hurt him. And I have a fairly safe atmosphere here, but I mean, this whole altar area back here, he should not go on, and he doesn't typically, but I try to give him lots of outside of his cage time, even though he likes his cage. He doesn't mind being in there, but he doesn't want to be in there all the time. He wants to be out and stretching his wings and interacting with me. The other challenge with birds is that they need a lot of healthy foods like veggies and such, but like kids, they often don't want to eat those healthiest foods for them. They want to eat the things that are not as good for them, like fruit and like seed, and those things are good for them, but they need way more veggies like this. This is a bowl of chop that I made that I've only recently started making for my bird because I didn't know enough about how to get your bird to eat vegetables that they need to eat. I just thought, I don't have the patience, I don't have the time and focus to clicker train my bird and do a reward system where I slowly introduce this and wean him off seed. It takes a lot of time and effort and discipline for you, not for the bird, but for you to do. But recently, as I've been watching these other bird channels, I've learned a very simple chop recipe that this just has cooked beans. It has, and then everything else is raw with kale, sprouts, broccoli, turnip, peas, carrot, things that have really strong raw flavors that appeal to birds because they have not as sensitive a taste bud palate that we do. So they want really strong flavors is what they like. And I was skeptical that my bird would eat this chop because my bird has one of those problems where he really wants only seed and only fruit. Getting him to eat anything else is hard. So I tried this chop because of all the strong flavors. I thought maybe he'll go for it. And guess what? He did. He's been loving this chop. He hasn't been nearly as squawky demanding a replenishment of seed with his favorite seed before he even needs it because he's ignoring all of the other stuff in the seed mixture. He likes this chop, and I think it's because it's so strong flavored. And you can make this, I made up a large batch of it, and it's pretty much all frozen. And then I'll just pull out a little bit of this. A bit of this right here can probably be good in the fridge and out for about 2 days max, 2 or 3. And then it needs a fresh supply. But when I put this out for him and give him all his free time outside his cage, he likes this and is eating it. And for me, it makes me feel really good because I feel like I'm doing right by him. It always bothered me that I couldn't have or dedicate the time to train him to get on a better diet. And now that I've got a little bit more time and I have this chop recipe, it's working, but actually he's into something right now that could really hurt him. You better get out of there. That's not for you to do right now. No. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just go ahead and put him back so that I can do this reading. But here's Stevie with his chop. He loves it. That's chop. Chop veggies and beans. Okay, Mr. Hazard. You're Mr. Hazardous material around here. You need to be back till I can finish up. So he was inside one of my large plants eating something out of the soil. I'm sure it was probably fine, but that's what I'm talking about. Having a little hookbill in your life, it requires a lot. It requires a lot of you. Lots of time, lots of careful monitoring, lots of discipline to give them the life that they deserve, because he's totally dependent on me for all of his stimulation, all of his fun, all of his joy, all of his interaction, all of his stimulation that he needs intellectually, because he's so smart. He's their higher needs even than a dog. So now I misplaced my glasses. Sorry, let me find those because I need them for the reading. Give me 1 second while I locate my glasses. Okay, sorry about that. I didn't want my white glasses. I wanted my black frames. So now, if you're new here, thank you for being here. I don't typically start with like a teaching intro about my bird. I just have been so happy to find that chop recipe. And I also wanted to just talk to him about him a little bit because people are curious about him. But I don't bring him into my readings very often or have him on my shoulder because I don't want him to poop on any of this. This is a protected space where he's not allowed to be because of his poop. And because of what just happened, because he can fly off and get into something and then it interrupts my reading. So he has to be caged, and often because I live in such a small spot, he even has to be covered while I'm doing this reading or he'll shriek because he wants to demand to be a part of it. He can be a little bully. I don't let him get away with that though, which is why I'm a good person for him. And even so, there are bird people out there way better than me. I'm a good bird person, but I know my limits and I know where I fail him. That's why I'm trying to do better by doing things like making him chop, right? And helping him feel healthier overall. And I would love to even begin clicker training with him to help him learn some more things, how not to bite, right? How not to attack. Conures are known to be kind of bullies, and he's one. He for sure is one. My cat would love to be friends with him, but he's just not having it. He doesn't like my cat. He sees my cat as competition for me and my love. So it doesn't matter how much my cat tries to be friends with him. He won't budge in his ambitions to try to drive my cat off permanently. That's his whole motive. Hi, Joey. I know you would love to be friends with Stevie, but he doesn't want to be your friend. Plus, you know, Joey's his natural predator, so it's a lot to ask a little bird to become friends with and trust a cat. So what are some general messages that want to come out? What are some collective messages for this general reading? We're in spooky season, so maybe some spooky beyond the veil, ghostly, paranormal messaging, but I don't know. What else? What else might we read about? What are some collective messages that want to come out today? Thank you for being here. Collective messages. The sun on the split, so that's very positive. Always a good sign. So it looks like a feminine is making a choice, a divine feminine, because we're talking about an empress here. Either she's making a choice or she's being chosen. Let's see here. So we have the moon. We have the moon where things are headed, and that's interesting and not what I would have expected. So there's some illusion present, although maybe it's the end of illusion because the moon's in reverse here. So there's a choice being made. There's a decision being made and options being weighed around this Empress. There's someone feeling that they need to defend themselves or their position or their territory from something. This is not very clear. What is clear is that there's a tower in place, and towers in my reading are, and the way I read as a reader, are very present in the immediate. So this reading, though it's timeless, no matter when you catch it, if it resonates, it will be relevant, even if it's 2 years from when I've actually done this reading. With the Tower card being here in the energy coming towards you, it's very present right now that there's going to be a very major shock incoming. It's either just happened or it's about to. Prepare yourself. There's some kind of a shock coming in. And it has to do with either a relationship or a competition with, it definitely has to do with relationships. Relationships are highlighted here because there are several court cards. We have a King of Pentacles, a Queen of Cups, and then 2 pages. So these could be 2 children, and this is regarding a divorce or a marriage. It could also be people talking and gossiping about this relationship. Because there are so many court cards and the moon card present, indicating that illusion is present as well, we're going to have to pull a lot of clarifiers here. Your current way that you're attempting to deal with whatever this is to go within. You're on your own right now, and you're acting independently and listening only to your own inner guidance, your own higher self, the wisdom of your heart. You're not necessarily following anybody else's guidance or words of wisdom or takes on what you feel you should or shouldn't be doing. I'm going to have to pull some clarifiers. I just am, because this is, whenever there's a lot of court cards like this, it's just going to be a challenge to define who's who and what's going on without you sitting directly across from me. And like everyone always says, I'm no exception. Take what fits and leave the rest for this general reading. If it doesn't fit, if you're confused, if it's seeming like it's not making any sense to you, then it's not likely for your reading, and that's okay. You can maybe find another reading on my channel that fits, or this will be interesting just for entertainment, right? What is happening? What is the Tower, and who are you even? I'm disoriented with all these court cards. I think you're the Empress that's faced with a choice about how you want to deal with some kind of a situation involving a large group of people, where there might be a lot of talk and you're feeling like you have to defend yourself, and a lot of illusion. You might be the subject of gossip here. You'd like to just have some good news. If it's going to be a shocking surprise, your hope would be that it would be a positive one, right? What is this about? What's happening here about this Tower and all these people? Drug testing or probation. Whose streets, in quotes, that's a chant from the activism world, right? Whose streets? Our streets. So someone here might be an activist. Someone might be an activist for decriminalization, for example, an activist that believes in, like safe injection sites or something that could be in play. 12-step. Yeah, some addiction is in play here, because we have 12-step, we have drug testing and probation, and activism. So addiction may be, I don't know where the activism is here, but let's just keep going. Travel and adventure is imminent. So, okay, That's going to have meaning for someone. We're going to pull from Intuitive Calves deck. What else do you need to know? What's the Tower? And the, well, first I'm going to ask, what do we need to know about this incoming shock? The Tower's in the reverse, so there's a chance that there is no shock. I don't know. I don't know how I got this convoluted and confused right off the bat. What's the Tower? Okay, so we have a priest and a priestess here in the upright. We have a starseed in the reverse. There's been a dark community that maybe has tried to work against you as a couple. If you're this Empress and you're connected to this King of Pentacles, that could be what's going on, is that you are divine feminine and divine masculine. There might have been, I don't know where, like, this is very convoluted. You might be part of a larger sobriety community or 12-step group, and maybe there's a lot of toxicity happening in your 12-step group, because with this community in reverse, drug testing and probation and 12-step, that's what it strikes me as, is that this might be, you might be someone who ended up with a sponsor who is not a good sponsor, who's maybe, I don't know what's happening here. Like, is the toxic community connected to sobriety and 12-step? Is the toxic community and the starseed in reverse, is that somehow connected to the 12-step model here? Yeah, it's like there's some type of triangle or toxicity in your home group or in your recovery group. Like, you might have gotten into, and I'm sorry to say it, but there are toxic therapists out there, right? There are toxic 12-step groups that end up in a toxic dynamic that really are not very healing for people, because there are members that are 13th stepping newcomers that are doing, all that. It's not always going to be a safe environment to try to be newly sober in, as sad as that is to say. I'm not trying to bash 12-step, okay? It's saved millions of lives. There's indisputable evidence of that, right? But I've also had exposure in my own life to 12-step groups that are toxic and not good for people. 12-step groups that have, like, so much Christianity embraced as the higher power that they're anti-LGBTQ, for example, or mocking men who aren't manly men, right? Just things like that. Because all kinds of people end up with drug problems. So you get home groups, the people that have differing views, and some might be racist or whatever, right? So that's what we're getting into and what we're tapping into here, is that there's a very healthy relationship brewing, but there's also a lot of people around this healthy relationship that are trying to tear it down or bring it down. What about this activism? Whose streets? Whose streets? What is that about? What's the activism piece here? Yeah, there's conflict even in your organizing circle, because you're in your North Node. And people are very bothered by the fact that you might be moving into a different mode now. And so for some of you, it may be your 12-step group. For others of you, it might be your mutual aid group, okay? Where you're now moving in a direction that's focusing on your romantic relationship, and the other people in your activism group don't understand that, or are bothered by the fact, and and are feeling conflicted about the fact that you have this other thing pulling on your time. That's coming through for some people. What about the moon and where things are headed? What about this lunar energy and where things are headed? You might be making changes, both of you. Both you as a priestess or a priest and the counterpart as a priestess or priest themselves. You may both be making changes and your communities don't know how to respond to these changes that you're making, because you both may be leaders in your respective groups here. You may be worried that something is going to permanently interfere with this relationship and that you're going to have to force to move on. That's what's clarifying this lunar energy, is that something may happen from this group. Like they might come and tell you an untruth or something about this relationship, and it may make you feel like, oh no, like my time is running out, or bad karma is going to affect things. And this is coming out as a warning for you, because what I'm picking up for you is that you need to not listen to this community. And it may be a community that you tried to turn to for healing and for alignment with your worldview and what you want for yourself, whether it's to recover from drug abuse, whether it's to fight for decriminalization of the drug world, or it was about finding healing for yourself and starting to find a healing group and joining and aligning with people you thought you were in alignment with. And what it's saying here is that no. And in fact, people in this group may be coming and telling you an illusion about your relationship. And it's saying you're going to have to stand your ground and follow your own inner light here, because they're telling you an untruth about this relationship. What is the untruth that they're trying to tell you? Why is the community against this relationship? You're part of a community, or your counterpart is part of a community or you both are, that's trying to sabotage the relationship. It's not going to work because travel and adventure is imminent. They don't like that you have this relationship coming. It's haters in the group. And it may even be, it could even be haters in your own family for some of you. For others, it's haters in what feels like a family, like your home group, okay? For many people, this is definitely a 12-step home group situation, where you might have people telling you in your 12-step group that it's toxic for you to be attracted to this masculine or feminine, right? You know that it's not toxic, because intuitively you're understanding that the relationship is not bad for you, but you're surrounded by people in whatever community you're in, whether it's an activism community or a 12-step healing group, that don't agree with this relationship coming to be. And that can happen for a variety of reasons. A lot of times, if you're in early sobriety, people will say you don't want to be in a relationship right now because you don't, and that's good advice, right? But these might be people that think they're healed, but they're unhealed, but they're giving you an advice and you are a healer, right? So this is like, in that case, it could be like an activism group. And you're like, yeah, well, you guys may think that everything rises and sets on being in the street right now. And I have a different take on that, which is that sometimes I need to be out of the streets and attending to my personal life and not fighting a global fight, okay? So what do you need to know now that this is all coming out? What's going to be important for you to understand now that this is coming out? What's some advice or further information now that this is what the story is? A group that you're involved in is acting like they mean well, but they're trying to steer you away from a relationship, and it's an illusion. What they're doing is actually not what's right for you. And so it's going to be really important that you watch out for that illusion, because they're people that you trust and that you wouldn't think would be steering you wrong. But what it's saying is that they are, even though you may have been in alignment with them on some things, or for some things. When it comes to this relationship, you're being advised not to listen to the community. They're coming from a lack or impoverished mindset. They're warning you about an old paradigm that actually doesn't fit you in this relationship. So what now? Now that that's come out, what do you need to know? What's important for you to understand? Yeah, it's the same exact message. These people are portraying that this is not a good relationship for you, that you shouldn't have a new beginning with this person, that you're not ready, that you need to stay still, that this person only wants, like, these people are like puritanical or something, or they don't, or they think they know best for you, is what's coming through. They think that this relationship is an addictive process. They don't think that you're good for one another. They think that this is an addictive process. They think that it's like sex addiction based, or that you're chasing after the next new thing, and that the facts are is that you need to stay still and keep healing. They're telling you to surrender. They're telling you that you need to keep doing your healing work with them, that you need to stay connected to them, surrender this love, and they're telling you that this is a toxic connection. What's actually happening, though, is that the person giving you the advice is not in the best frame of mind themselves, and they are in a competitive energy with you because they see that this is something that's potentially really beautiful, that's going to have you surpass where they are in their own life. It's coming through very channeled. This person doesn't intend to be malicious, but they are not doing their own shadow work. They're not checking their own motives to see whether they're guiding you based on what's truly best for you. Because what's happening is, like, they're guiding you because they're projecting their own loneliness into your situation. And so this could very well be somebody like your friend in your 12-step meeting that's like, it's too soon. I don't think you should be getting involved with anyone. I think you're creating old patterns, don't you? But it's somebody that doesn't have boundaries or enough boundaries to be able to recognize that they are projecting, okay? This is all the more reason why it's important that you listen to your own inner light and your own intuition. Intuition came in the upright. You have an intuitive understanding that this relationship is not going to be bad for you. But if you have people around you that are acting like they're the experts, like maybe more experienced organizers than you, that are saying, oh, that's real nice and convenient that you get to go daydream about a love affair. Meanwhile, people are being deported and stuff. And I'm not mocking that. That's not the wrong thing to say, but it's not fitting your current circumstance, okay? So yes, there's a time to criticize people wanting to just tune out of what's going on and have fun and not pay attention to the disasters in the world. And then there's a time where you have to know that it's okay, because you can't be tuned into the disaster at all times, right? And that's what this is saying. It's saying, don't let these people steer you away from something that's meant for you to make you happy, okay? Because they're lecturing you and saying that that's a privilege to be daydreaming about love right now. That's wrong. We're not machines. We can't be focused on activism all the time. Also, we can't be so married to 12-step Christian ideology that we're not letting people be human and let life unfold, right? So don't listen to these people that are telling you that you're unhealed, that by being drawn to this relationship, it's unhealed or it's addictive or whatever. Their takes are not accurate. And we're smudging those takes away because they're old timeline takes. They're not malicious. This isn't like a coven that's trying to steal your destiny or anything like that. It's not destiny swapping. It's not witchcraft. It's well-meaning people that don't have enough of their own healing done, and they're projecting that onto you. And this is saying you don't need to listen because they're just projecting. The illusion is that you need to wait until you're more healed. You need to keep doing your healing work. You need to turn this person away. It's not good for either of your healing right now. And this is saying these people don't know. They don't know what's right for you right now. They mean well. Doesn't mean you have to shut them down, but they're not seeing accurately about your situation. What's some advice for you now when it comes to this love relationship? Not the other community members, but the love that's coming. What is some advice? What's some takeaway and advice for you about the love? What do you need to know about this love that's coming? What do you need to know about this love? This love that's coming. It's interesting because community was in the reverse and now here it is in the upright. And in the first layout, Queen of Cups was in the upright and then she came in the reverse in the second layout. So that moon card in the key is really key. Things are not what they seem. These people that seem like they're these well-meaning, farther along wise healers are actually not right in this case. All right. Does that mean you need to go blasting that and talking down to them and saying that, no, they're just trying to help you. So it just means you can take what they're saying with a grain of salt, right? You're discovering the essential qualities that you share with another and perhaps also those that you don't share. There are times when you follow and the other person leads, and times when you lead and others follow. The appearance of this card points to the importance of learning the proper dance between you and another. Accepting the truth that everyone has flaws is part of that dance. Yet you are also being asked to be aware of the dynamics that you don't want to repeat. You're in the perfect place to make changes in order to experience the best version of who you can be together. So this is saying exactly that. You don't need to worry about this relationship. It's not wrong to be seriously considering a partnership with this, because where things are headed with the partner is Four of Wands, which is a very beautiful, stable, grounded. You might be moving in together. You might find that you're building a life together with this person. It's very healthy. Okay. It's really a good thing. And then what else do you need to know about the relationship? Fear is leading the way into places you don't need to go. Boom. You don't need to listen to these other people's fears about your relationship. Most of what you fear is an illusion stemming from an old belief that isn't even true. That's right. Like you're not long enough healed. Stay away. Don't try to get involved with someone until that's all normally good advice, but for you in this case, it's not. Now is a time for courage. You will not be lost at sea. You will not watch everyone else get what you want while you are left alone and unloved. Oh, the drama of it. False evidence appearing real is hovering over you. The more you dwell on fear, the more real it will become. Ask yourself, who in me is afraid? Love that part of you. Ask, is this true and real right now? The answer most likely is no. Give yourself a hug. It's okay to be scared. Courage must be summoned. In spite of your fear, even when you're not feeling confident, Spirit will always catch you. I love it. So this is a great reading, and it's coming out at a time that you need to hear it, because these other community members in the reverse, they're not evil. They're just well-intended but misguided. Seem typically to be the people that you would be listening to, and in this case it's saying no. You need to listen to your own inner light and the light of the counterpart, and that's it. You just need to be listening to each other. Don't let anybody else interfere with your relationship right now. That's the message. That's the message. That's the message. That's the message. I won't clean all these up now because they're going to be a big mess. So I thank you for being here. I'll see you in the next one, and be good out there. Stay safe and enjoy.